For someone who hears the term dyslexia and doesn't have it, they assume that that individual is incapable of reading and that it affects their intelligence. My name is Andrew Curley. I am currently doing a BA up at Perth College in Social Science.
My name's Trevor Thompson. I'm the Managing Director of a company called Blue Star Streaming.
My name's Fiona McDermott and I'm the Centre Director for Self-Way Reading Matters in Stirling.
I found out I was dyslexic later on in life. I found out when I was at university, so I found out about the age of 30.
We found out I was dyslexic quite young. I've got two sisters that back in primary school were doing much better than I was. They were able to spell and everything better than I was. So then my parents decided to get me tested about the age of 4. We found out through a centre that I had dyslexia then.
It was really surprising considering I went through a good school in Scotland, in East Kilbride, called St Bride's, and they never picked up I was dyslexic. So yeah, I got diagnosed quite late. Dyslexia affects me in a lot of different ways. You've got the normal ways, we call the normal ways that most people who don't know that much about dyslexia will think it's the kind of standard reading and writing, filling forms in. It affects me how I'm processing things during the day, sequencing things. So it can affect my mood, it can affect my creativity, it can affect the way I interact with people as well.
People only associate it with not being able to read words or write words. If you can't read and write easily, it inhibits you from processing particularly large volumes of information quickly and easily.
In my course, there's a lot of reading I need to do, and if those chapters aren't electronic, I have to read it from a textbook, and that can seriously slow me down. That can take maybe 3 to 4 hours.
People think it's just mixing up your B's and D's and getting your woes and so the wrong way around, and they purely associate it with that. But it's actually more about processing information, particularly large volume of information. A lot of people find that quite difficult.
In my early part of my life, I would say dyslexia was an extreme hindrance because I was in an education system but didn't understand the type of person I was and how I learned.
It stopped me from getting into Glasgow Uni. I needed a higher English qualification to get into a degree. We argued that since I was doing higher modern studies, it was a literally based subject, so I wouldn't need the higher English, but they said since it wasn't the right qualification, I couldn't study at Glasgow Uni.
I think it's understanding what dyslexia is. It is the way you're wired up, but it also comes with a whole host of advantages as well, because typically the Dyson Hoover company, they're all dyslexic.
It was definitely hard at the beginning, but I think that made me really resilient. It made me very much a hard worker.
They have greater creativity, they can think outside the box, they bring a whole host of different thinking.
Other advantages of being dyslexic are seeing the world in a different perspective, being able to understand situations and people. My social skills seem to be really quite high.
Many of them display quite different traits, but quite a lot of them typically will be very artistic, but they shy away from reading and writing.
Dyslexia means to me that my brain works slightly different, or a lot different from what we call mainstream people in the way they think, looking at the world slightly differently. So I've had to build up loads of different kind of coping mechanisms, writing a lot of things down, keeping a lot of notes, trying to be very organised.
It doesn't stop me from doing anything. I've always found ways around it. I've just learned to deal with it. Just means that I'm slightly different.
Someone who's been diagnosed with being dyslexic will find a massive relief, a lot of joining up of dots, because they'll know from a very early age that you're different.
That is probably some of the best news you'll hear, because you may have grown up believing that you are incapable of doing certain tasks and that you're just stupid, and that's not at all the case.
It's not the end of the world. Now you know you can do something about it.
You can get support and equipment to help you with dyslexia and cope with your additional needs.
Focusing on your positive, because there is loads of positives: spatial awareness, storytelling, massive empathy. There's loads of amazing famous people who are dyslexic who you can get inspirations from. Muhammad Ali was dyslexic. There's loads of barriers to get over, but when you come out and start speaking to people, it's the biggest thing It helps you relax, and when you can relax, then you can actually start to use your strengths.
I think it's always portrayed as a negative, but it's how do you turn something's negative into a positive, but at the same time assist people embrace who they are, but also all the different intelligences they have beyond the reading and the writing.